All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Tuesday, May 31st edition of the MMAOB Daily Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Adam Martin, joined by my co-host here, Monday and Tuesdays, Mr. Big Marcel. Marcel, man, how's it going?
All good, man. All good. Same as yesterday, pretty much, And how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. You're always in a good mood, man. That's why I love having you here doing the podcast with me, my friend. Let's get some comments here. We got Oddsmoker Steve in the chat again. He says, thanks for doing the show. Glad you can make it. Glad to have you here, Steve. It's like I said, the more the merrier, guys. We love when you guys are here. Joe's here too. What's up, guys? Caught it in time today. Work was brutal outside. 97 feels like 110. Where do you live, Joe? Geez, that's hot. I think you're in like Philly or something, Joe. I want to say that's really hot, man. It's pretty hot here in Toronto right now, though, Marcel. I didn't really want to go outside today.
Those degrees don't say anything to me. You go with Fahrenheit. We go with Celsius.
I don't even know what that means either. I honestly don't. Yeah, I'm the same way. I just think it's really hot because I was in the States last week, so they were talking about the heat, and that's right. He is from Philly. I was right about that. What's going on, man? Anyways, we're gonna have a good show for you guys today. We're gonna break down UFC Vegas 56. 14 fights, Marcel. We got a lot of fights to talk about. Just really quick at the beginning before we get into it, there was a late change on the card. After we complained about it yesterday, one of the UFC's matchmakers was listening to the podcast. They took off the Herrig Kowalkiewicz fight off the main card, Marcel, and they put on Osborne and Adeshev on the main card. I'm not sure if that's the fight that should have been on the main card, to be honest with you. I think Jeff Molina would have made more sense than Zhumagulov, but hey, it's better than other fights, so I'm okay with it. Any thoughts, Marcel, quickly?
In my opinion, yeah, they should have put Molina and Zhumagulov, and they should have booted Botelho Silva for Blanchfield Aldrich.
I don't understand why that fight's in the main card. It just really doesn't make sense to me. Get a couple of our comments here before we start the podcast, guys. Matthew, what's going on, man? Haven't seen you in a while here. Glad to have you here, buddy. Sneaky Bets, I think so too. What's up, Tristan? The regular. What's up, Martin? How's it going, man? I think Martin's also from Netherlands. De Rat. That's a Dutch name, right? I think
kind
so.
of sounds more Belgian, but could
Belgian.
be Dutch as well. Yeah.
Doug, what's going on, man? Good to be back. How's it going, guys? Doing good, Doug. Glad to have you here, buddy. Z-San, what's going on, man? What do you guys make the bizarre fight order for this card? It doesn't make sense. We talked about it yesterday. We ripped on it. They did change it up a little bit, but it's fucking weird. Why is Blanchfield opening the card? I don't get it. We'll talk about her in a fight in a minute. Karolina loser leaves town. Absolutely. We'll talk about that in a sec. Hey, Andrew, how's it going, man? Yeah, he's from Belgium. So, anyways, I think we should get into it. I always ask you this, Marcel, like your overall thoughts on the card before we get into it. Any thoughts quickly?
Yeah, weird as bout order. That's it. I think it's a good card. It's some pretty fun matchups, but just a weird ass card order. That's all,
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. Anyways, I think we should get into the card. So let's start off, Marcel. We're going to start off with the first fight, guys. We have 14 fights to get through today, so it's going to be a good show. Looking forward to talking about all these fights with you, Marcel. The first fight in the card, Marcel, a fight that really should be later on in the card. Erin Blanchfield, one of the top flyweight prospects in the world, taking on JJ Aldrich, an underrated fighter in this division. And right now, Blanchfield is one of the biggest favorites on the card, Marcel, minus 500 and plus 400 for JJ Aldrich. Marcel, lead us off. What do you think, man?
Yeah, man. I mean, you know what I think about Erin Blanchfield, right? I think she can be a champion within a few years. I think she's that good. She has that one loss on the record against Tracy Cortez in the fight I think she won. Very solid in Invicta. Got to the UFC, got 2 fights in the UFC. I'm pretty much dominated in those fights. She dominated against Sarah Alpar and she dominated against Miranda Maverick. And the last one is pretty impressive, I think, against Miranda Maverick. So if you look at JJ Aldrich, she's, in my opinion, she has really good basics. She's really, she is just really good in the basics, and I think that's why people underestimate her all the time, and I do as well. I picked against her many times, and she won those fights. I think she's solid, but she doesn't have that special talent that I see in Blanchfield. You know what I mean? That special talent that can bring you to certain heights in the division, and definitely gonna go for a top 10 fighter after this one, I think. So Blanchfield super young still, I know, but man, I feel like she defeats Aldrich. Probably, listen, if you look at how she beat Maverick and Alpar, she didn't really finish them, but she was really dominant, and I think Aldrich super tough. I think Blanchfield takes a unanimous decision, man.
Yeah, I mean, how do you not pick Aldrich or Blanchfield in this fight against Aldrich? Like, she's been dominant in the UFC so far. The last one against Mavericks, Mavericks a better fighter than Aldrich, in my opinion, right? I mean, listen, it's not the same matchup, but I mean, she took her down 7 times. She controlled her basically the whole fight. I don't see why she couldn't do this to Aldrich. And Aldrich has pretty good takedown defense, Marcel. It's not bad. She's not a bad fighter. Like, I think she's decent. She's underrated, I think. She has a good record in the UFC, 7-3. It's a solid record for sure. Fought good competition, but like you said, Marcel, like she's like good at like the meat and potatoes. You know what I mean? But she doesn't have that. Like, she doesn't have the dessert. She doesn't bring the cake to the fight, if that makes sense. Doesn't have that like special ability in a fight, really. Whereas you look at Blanchfield, like she has that dominant wrestling, and I think that dominant wrestling is going to carry her far in the sport. And like you said, super young, Marcel. She's only 23, just turned 23 earlier this month. So, I mean, how do you not pick her here? I will say that the line is getting high. It opened at minus 275. Now it's minus 500. Some books minus 600. But I mean, I'm picking her. So I wouldn't bet on Aldrich in this fight. I even with the high line, I still think it's favored or pass. People that like parlays, definitely someone to look at. Erin Blanchfield here. Marcel, also look at a prop maybe. JJ Aldrich is very tough. She's hard to finish. I'm thinking a decision here, Marcel. So Blanchfield by decision. Well, the odds on that suck too. It's minus 140. So I don't like laying juice on props. I've always said this. Like, if you want to get plus money on something, then maybe take a shot on maybe her finishing the fight. Possibly. Like, I don't think so, but it's possible. So yeah, I mean, just not to overthink it too much. I think Blanchfield wins this fight, and someone that you would consider in a parlay if you like playing parlays. Let's get some comments here, John. The guy who said on Twitter, what you see is about odd butters trying to convince people to tune in for the whole card. That's true. I agree.
Aaron Bronstetter said that.
Yeah. Weirdly enough, I don't hate being the opener unlike everything else. The match was lying around getting Erin cage time. I don't think it's an exciting fight. It keeps her from climbing too fast. Yeah, that's true. Cortez is the one who beat Blanchfield. She did. It was a close fight. Marcel is convinced to this day that she lost that fight. Cortez. JJ has good skills, has been some close fights, but Blanchfield's proven on the rise. I like her to win. Me too. I think we all like her here, guys. All right, let's go to the next fight here. This one's a good fight too, Marcel. Welterweight division. Andreas Michailidis, Marcel, dropping down a weight class, I believe, for this fight. Taking on Rinat Fakhretdinov. And Rinat is a pretty big favorite here, making his UFC debut. Minus 270. Andreas plus 230. Marcel, your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, they're honestly both dropping down a weight class. Rinat also fought at middleweight. He wanted to fight at welterweight, by the way, Rinat. So, yeah, I like Rinat. It's been a long time since we saw him in the cage, right? Mm-hmm. He's from the Dana White looking for a fight. Yep. And Abu Dhabi where he knocked out Eric Spicely. If you look at Andreas Michailidis, yeah, man, I'm not sold on the dude. He had the debut, that weird ass debut against Bukauskas, where he where we want to go to the cage and he fouled out. Wasn't his fault actually that he fouled out, but it got stopped then. Then he won against KB Buller, a guy from Canada, who didn't have the best run in the UFC at all. And the last time against Alex Pereira, I think he had a decent first round, but he got stopped in the second round. So if you look at Rinat's super solid. I think he's a really good dude. The thing is, I feel like I would be more hesitant if it wasn't Michailidis, I think, because I think Michailidis isn't, and that sounds really sad, but I don't think he's really UFC caliber in my opinion, and I think Rinat will win and will probably finish him as well. I go with a submission win in the first round for Rinat here.
Submission, yeah. I think it's going to be a knockout for him, man. I think he knocks him out. I didn't know a lot about this guy. Obviously, I saw the Eric Spicely fight. I watched the tape on him. There's not a lot of fights of this guy, to be honest with you, but there's some on YouTube. And he's not bad, man. Definitely a powerful guy, obviously, Marcel, and he can finish you. It's more of a fade on Andreas to me, Marcel. I don't think he's UFC caliber either, to be honest with you. Like, he has some power, some striking, but to be fair, I mean, he did win that first round against Pereira with the wrestling. So I mean, maybe he'll show that off in this fight again. I think he's still training. I'm not sure, but he was at MMA Masters with Covington and those guys before. So he could be working on the wrestling still. I don't know, man. I think this is a good debut matchup for Rinat.
Exactly.
I'm surprised the line isn't higher. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I thought he'd be like minus 400 or something here. I think he knocks him out in the first round. So I like him here, Marcel. I think he wins the fight. First round knockout. That's my prediction for that one. I'm going to take a look at the odds for that. Fakhretdinov by knockout. Plus 140. It's not great, but it's not bad. First round plus 225. Yeah, I think he knocks him out, Marcel. I mean, if you look at Michailidis in his career, he's been knocked out. Well, first round only one time. Again, it was that funny one. But again, this guy's got a lot of power, man. But like you said, he has coming off a long layoff. Maybe he wants to get some cage time, so something to consider. But I feel pretty good about this guy here, Marcel. I think he knocks him out. Like, I don't like this fight for Andreas, and I think he gets cut after the fight. It is weird that he's still on the roster, and Modestas Bukauskas is not on the roster. I think that's very strange, But he still has one more fight left on his 4-fight deal, Marcel. So on his 10-10 contract.
I still feel Modestas got screwed, man, in that fight against Oleksiejczuk, yeah.
Well, that fight, he should have won for sure. And then he obviously got his knee destroyed by Roundtree. And UFC just cuts him. Like, that was very cruel, but it's a cruel sport. That feels like someone's getting knocked out. I agree. This fight's not going the distance, right? You don't think so, eh?
No.
Yeah, and then I'm just looking at that. That's only minus 180. That's not a bad bet at all. I don't think this fight goes 3 rounds. I'd be surprised. I'd be very surprised if this fight went 3 rounds.
Me too.
Was we got the guy, Birch is asking, was he the guy who came out with the mask during his entrance? I don't know, maybe. And was he Brave, right? UAE, excuse me, when he fought Spicy. Maybe, I can't remember, but possibly. Michailidis dropping to welterweight after that prayer, and he must have clocked him good. Yeah, for sure. And also, I think he was an undersized middleweight, to be honest with you. Rinat wins. He does. He should win this fight. All right, Marcel, next fight. Jeff Molina against Zhalgas Zhumagulov, Marcel. It's a really good fight in the flyweight division. I think this fight could have been on the main card too. This is a very good fight. Jeff Molina right now is the favorite in this fight, Marcel. Minus 185, plus 160 on Zhalgas. Your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, dude, Jeff Molina. I'm kind of sold on the dude, I think he's a really good prospect. Came from the Contender Series, had that great debut against Aruchi Lang, which I think was a fight of the night.
Yep.
And after that one, he had a good win over Daniel, what's his name again? Da Silva, yeah.
The guy you picked to beat Francisco Figueiredo.
Yeah, exactly. He had a good win against him, and it was also a pretty fun fight. So if you look at his opponent, Zhalgas Zhumagulov, only win the UFC against Rivera, right?
Who's like 0-4 in the UFC, I think, right?
Yeah. Kind of had a close fight against Raulian Paiva, which he could have won, in my opinion.
I thought he did win that fight, Marcel. I got to be honest with you. I thought he won, and that would look good in his resume, right? If he had won that fight. So
true, but on the other side, the 2 fights before he came into the UFC against Fakhretdinov and against Ulanbekov, he could have easily lost those 2. So it's really difficult, And I mean, I cannot go against Molina right now. Molina is on a good streak. He looks great, and Zhalgas has just not found his rhythm yet, in my opinion. So, will Molina finish here? I'd like to say yes, actually. I think he might finish him. I'm going with a second round TKO for Jeff Molina here.
I like Jeff Molina here too, man. I think he wins this fight. Zhalgas really has not impressed me too much in the UFC. He's getting a little bit older too, 33 years old. Listen, the Jerome Rivera fight, that was crazy. That was his first submission win, I think, ever, if I'm not mistaken. It was very surprising. But again, that guy was 0-4 in the UFC. Not good. Paiva, that fight, I mean, listen, it could have went either way. I think he won the fight. It is what it is. But, I don't really rate Amir Albazi that high, Marcel. I got to be honest with you. And he lost to him. And then the last fight gets destroyed by Kopp, excuse me. And he loses. Kopp beats most people. So he would beat Molina, too, to be honest with you. So I don't take a lot from that fight. But the other fights, I just think he's beatable. That's what I think it comes down to. Jeff Molina, he's also had a couple losses early in his career, but really improved since then. And Marcel, he's only 24 years old, man. He's training with James Krause and those guys. He's so young. He's on a 9-fight win streak right now. I mean, he has so much momentum coming in this fight. 2-0 in the UFC. He had the winner of the Contender Series. I think he's one of the best prospects in this weight class. I was surprised neither guy was ranked in the top 15, Marcel. I got to be honest with you. I thought one of them was. I think the winner will probably be. I think Jeff Molina wins this fight. I like him in this fight. I think he's going to be the better striker in this fight. Keeps the fight standing. Outstrikes Zhalgas. Here's the thing, Marcel. Zhalgas has only been finished the one time by Kopp. I mean, it's possible that he's been finished twice, excuse me. One time outside the UFC, obviously. But overall, pretty tough guy, I think, Marcel. So I'm leaning towards a decision, to be honest with you. I think Molina just outpoints him. But, I mean, Molina's got power. We saw that in the last fight. A lot of finishes in his career. I just like him to win this fight. I really like Jeff Molina. And I think he's a really good prospect. The odds on him have been pretty good so far. The first 2 fights, the odds were really low, minus 110, minus 160. A little bit more here, minus 185, but it's still not bad. It is under 2-1, and I think he wins the fight. So I like him here, Marcel. I think he wins the decision here. I like Jeff Molina, man. I think he's a really good prospect, guys. So Molina by finish, and possibly, guys. I mean, Zhumagulov is tough, though. You know, I wouldn't be. That's the thing. I wouldn't be surprised either way. I'm leaning towards a decision myself. A lot of hype Molina right now, minus 185. I mean, I think that's a fair line, Tristan, to be honest with you. Like, it's a little bit under 2-1. It's giving him what, like a 60% chance to win? Let me just check that odds bar. I always got to get the calculator out. It's always good to know, like, exactly what the odds say. Let me take a look here. Oh, one sec. Talk more about the fight, Marcel. I pull the calculator out. Just give me some more thoughts on the fight. Marcel, you're on mute, I think. You're on mute.
So stupid.
I'm like, what's going on here?
I just feel like Molina is going to finish him, and like I said, but it's possible, definitely possible. Dude, it's tough to finish. Only Cap probably did in the UFC.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I can't add anything to that, man.
I just checked. So minus 185, it's a 65% win probability. That's fair, but I would say he's more of like a 70% winner, which is like a minus 250 favorite. So I think there could be some value on him here, if anything. Anyways, I like Jeff Molina in this fight. All right, let's go to the next fight here, Marcel. This is an interesting one as well. Johnny Munoz against Tony Gravely. Good fight here in the bantamweight division, Marcel. The odds for this one are pretty tight too. Gravely minus 130, Munoz plus 110. Your thoughts on this one, my friend?
Yeah, it's a fucking horrible fight to pick. And for the simple reason, if you look at Johnny Munoz Jr., people might not be being impressed so far really with him. But that fight against Nate Maness, I scored that for Johnny Munoz Jr., but I went to a draw because of a point deduction, I think.
No, he lost the fight. He lost by the unanimous decision.
Yeah, but he got a point deducted in the fight, right? Or not?
I don't know. I can't remember now. There might have been. I think there might have been. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I scored it personally 29-28 for Munoz, and it went to 28-28 draw for me. So
yeah, it was a low blow in the third round.
Yeah, exactly.
Would he have won the fight?
I don't think so.
No, he wouldn't have won either way. He wouldn't have won. He still would have lost the fight. Yeah.
In my opinion, he clearly won 2 rounds.
I thought he won 2, and I mean, I look at the stats of that fight, Marcel, and again, you know, I know everyone's like, "Oh, control doesn't mean anything anymore," but like the guy had 10 minutes of control time in that fight. I mean, that should count for something, I think.
Yeah.
And he also landed more significant strikes too. So like, I'm really confused why he lost that fight, even though I think Nate Maness is good. I'm just saying, like, Marcel, he outlanded in that fight 49-21 in significant strikes, and again, he had 10 minutes of control. So you can't be like, oh, the other guy did more damage. There was no knockdowns. There was no one that got really badly hurt. It was just a bad decision.
I remember that. Yep. I was super surprised that Maness got to win, even with the point deducting. Yep. So, if you look at Gravely is a fun fighter, but he sometimes you saw also, he also fought Nate Maness, by the way. Yep. He pretty much destroyed him in the first round, and then he got destroyed in the second round himself. You know? He had that great fight with Brad Jones. He lost, but that was a fight of the night. I loved it. I loved that fight. And he got that win over Simon Oliveira last time. I kind of lean towards Munoz, man, to be honest, in this one, man. I feel like Munoz can win the fight, and I'm picking him with a decision.
I like Johnny Munoz here, guys. I really like him in this fight, Marcel. I think he submits him, Marcel. Gravely's been submitted, I think, 5 times in his career, guys. He's very finishable on the ground. Johnny Munoz Jr. is a very dangerous guy in the ground. We saw that against, listen, Jamie Simmons sucks, let's be honest, but it's the way he took his back was impressive. And then if you look at all his fights in King of the Cage and everything, tons of submission wins. They both came from King of the Cage. They're actually supposed to fight in King of the Cage years ago in 2019. Yeah. The fight never happened. I think they're both kind of on the same level right now, Marcel. I just look at Gravely as a guy that can be finished in the fights, and he's shown that in the UFC. He's been finished a couple times. He showed that before he came to the UFC. And again, a lot of submission losses. To be fair, I mean, mostly to good guys, you know. But I think he's very finishable. He's got good wrestling, but I think that's his downfall here because he won't mind wrestling with a guy who's amazing on the ground. And I feel like Munoz is just so good in the ground. I think some people don't know how good he is. Yeah, I think we both knew. I think some people in the chat know. I like Johnny Munoz in this fight, Marcel. He's the first dog in the card. There's a few dogs in this card I like, guys, and he's the first one. I like Johnny Munoz to win this fight by submission. And also, I was going to say, I can't remember who interviewed him, but I watched an interview with Tony Gravely recently, and he was talking about how, like, he's like, oh, everyone thinks they can submit me, but I've been working on my, like, back take defense and stuff. And I'm like, all right, man, we'll see what happens. Like, maybe he comes out here with amazing submission defense for once, but I don't think so, Marcel. I think he gets submitted. So give me Johnny Munoz, man. I like him at plus money here, Marcel.
Actually, fun that we're pretty convinced both that we're
picking I really like him here. I mean, he's the guy that immediately stood out to me as an underdog that I liked, you know? So Munoz dog money. Dude, I like it too, honestly. Munoz, good pick for parlay. I mean, I would just play him straight personally, but you can do whatever you want. If you want to parlay him, you could. It's up to you. Hey, Antoine, how's it going, man? Always glad to have you in the chat, buddy. Gravely's gas tank suspect. I agree with that too, Marcel. Remember that Brett Johns fight? He slowed down in that fight, and against Nate Maness too, he slowed down. Like he was winning that fight, Marcel. He is dangerous in that first round. I think Gravely's not bad. But he showed against Samuel Alvarez. He's got great wrestling. We know that. But again, it just plays into Johnny Munoz's game, I think, Marcel. I really do. So that's my thoughts. You can get Munoz scorecards, no, actually, at plus money. It's a great bet. I just think Munoz at plus money is not a bad bet at all, Tristan, to be honest with you. Antoine, I know the main event is a welterweight. Do you guys think Usman really kills on time, or we get an interim title fight? I mean, I hope we were talking about this yesterday. We both hope he fights in August, but I really have no idea, man. I mean, I hope he fights soon. But I'm a huge Usman fan. He's an amazing fighter. And you heard anything, Marcel?
When is the last time he fought again, Usman?
He fought Covington in November last year.
In November, yeah, okay, yeah. If he doesn't fight in August, September, there might be an interim.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me. I don't think they should do it because he's the best pound-for-pound fighter in the sport right now, but wouldn't completely surprise me. Anyways, it's a consensus dog pick, Marcel, on Johnny Munoz.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next fight here. This is a good one. We got Benoit Saint-Denis coming back from that epic beatdown against Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos. You know what's crazy? He's fighting before Elizeu's fighting. That doesn't make any sense. Like, it blows my mind. And he's taking on, we got Tristan in the chat, his buddy, Niklas Stolze, Marcel, dropping down to lightweight. Both guys are dropping down to lightweight, Marcel, for this fight. So they're both going to new weight division here. Another fight that's pretty competitive on the odds. Minus 150 for Benoit Saint-Denis. Plus 130 Niklas Stolze. Marcel, your thoughts?
Yeah, pretty much says everything that Stolze is the underdog going into this fight after that last fight of Benoit Saint-Denis, I think. Yeah. And Tristan going to be upset with me. I think Benoit Saint-Denis wins this fight, man. And I think he taps him early, to be really honest.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, I think Saint-Denis is pretty decent. I think he just got the bad matchup with Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos, to be honest, And I think 155 fits him much better, in my opinion. And also for Stolze, it's probably better to go to 155. He got 2 losses in the UFC against Abubakar, right? And not MEF.
Ramazan Emeev
and Gooden, yeah. I was with the Zawada. I was confused. I'm picking Saint-Denis here with a submission early in the first round. And I'm sorry, Tristan, just being honest.
I'm staying the fuck away from this fight, guys. This is a weird fight. It's just strange. I mean, they're both dropping down to new division. Benoit's coming off like one of the worst beatings of all time in the UFC. And Stolze coming off a brutal knockout loss and now dropping down. Again, it's weird, Marcel, that Jared Gooden is on the UFC, but this guy is. I just don't. Yeah. It just doesn't make sense. Jared Gooden should be in the UFC again. He is a good fighter. He's just picked up a few wins in the regional scene. He should get another shot. Anyways, I think this is kind of a hard fight to pick, honestly. I'm leaning towards Saint-Denis so slightly, Marcel. It's like a very slight lean because honestly, before he came to the UFC, I was very impressed by his ground game, Marcel. I thought he looked great in the ground and brave. That's why they signed him. He wasn't able to get the fight down to the ground against Zaleski. He just couldn't get to the ground and just got destroyed on the feet. But I will say, like, Stolze, he's been working at the PI. He's improving probably. He's a young guy still. He's only 29 years old. So, I mean, he could make some improvements here. But again, Benoit's only 26, so he's young too. I can't convince myself to pick Stolze here, Marcel, but it wouldn't completely surprise me if he won either. I think it's kind of a weird fight and a wild card fight because of the weight drop for both guys. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I wouldn't bet on this fight, dude.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet on either. Okay, here's the thing, guys. You don't have to bet in every fight. There's 14 fights in this card. I've already seen a few. We've already talked about a few that we like for bets. This is not one I like at all. No, the pick is Saint-Denis, Marcel. I think he kind of grinds him out for decision. Stolze has never been submitted, so that's why I'm leaning decision. But it would not surprise me if Stolze won the fight, Marcel. I'm just saying.
Yeah, the thing is here with Stolze, he hasn't showed great things so far in the UFC, And for Saint-Denis, his last fight, taking that back in mind, I still pick him, but I'm not convinced. You know what I mean? So there are a lot of question marks for me. That's why I'm going with Saint-Denis, but it's not like I'm like, blind pick, No,
you're not like put your house on this one.
Oh no, definitely not. not even my little cabin on the back.
Not even your Funko Pop collection. You wouldn't put on this fight.
Definitely.
I'm super biased, but I'm rolling with Stolze. That's what Tristan said. But Tristan, we knew you were going to pick him. You didn't have to tell us. Stolze fight was MU was closer. Yeah, it was actually pretty close, Marcel. It was a competitive fight. It was on Fight Island, if I'm not mistaken. Really liked what I saw. Hey, Andrew. I thought he looked good and brave too. That's why my dumb ass picked him against Solecki because I'm like, this guy can take him down, but the size was a problem in that fight for him. And obviously, striking wasn't there either.
And
the striking,
and the referee
everything was bad. And the referee wanted him to die in that ring. Vladislav, what was his name? Like the Russian guy. He had like, remember that dude? Didn't Dana White removed him from the? Yeah, that's bad. Like getting like removed. Anyways, it was really bad. Stolze inside the distance or standing decision. That's where I lean too. You know, I know Sane's cutting weight, but I don't really like the weight cut for Stolze. They're both cutting the weight. You know, it's interesting. All due respect to you guys, thanks for the show. No, dude, we love doing the show, man, and we know you liked him. So
yeah, no problem.
That's why I mentioned you, Tristan. Like I have a good memory, and I remember like you guys. So I want to bring that up. All right, let's go to the next fight, Marcel. Damon Jackson against Dan Argueta. This fight was short notice fight. Damon Jackson originally supposed to fight Derek Minner. He was a big favorite in that fight. He's an even bigger favorite here, Marcel. He opened at minus 200. Now he's minus 550, and Argueta is plus 425. I talked about this fight yesterday. I'll start it off again, Marcel, just because I did talk about it yesterday. I like Dan Argueta. I think he's a very good prospect. I was following him in LFA the last few fights. He looked really good. He won the championship there. He actually looked pretty good in the Ultimate Fighter, in my opinion, Marcel, the last season. I think he's a good prospect, but he's in the wrong weight class. And he's taking a fight at short notice against a guy who's a really good fighter, who's an underrated fighter, who's an incredible grappler. I hate this fight so much for Dan Argueta. I just think his management didn't do him a good favor here. They should have said to the UFC, no, we're not going to take this fight. Like, he could have taken one more fight in the regional scene. They were going to sign him eventually. He's really good. Like, were they just not going to sign him because he declines to fight Damon Jackson on short notice? I get it. Everyone wants to get in the UFC. We know that, right? They want to get a chance in the UFC. You got to be smart with your career. I don't like this fight for him, Marcel. The only good thing is he probably doesn't get like knocked out brutally or something like that. He'll probably get submitted instead. But I think Damon Jackson just grapple fucks the hell out of him, Marcel. I hate this fight for this guy. I just don't like this matchup at all for him. Damon Jackson's a minus 550 favorite. It's a little bit high, but honestly, it's deserved. Damon Jackson by submission is plus 105. I think he submits him, Marcel. You know, I honestly do. That's my pick here, Marcel. Damon Jackson by submission.
Yeah, I feel like the management probably was like, you didn't win the Ultimate Fighter, now you got a second chance, can't say no. But he's the LFA champion, you know? He's the LFA champion, bantamweight. And if he put another title fight, or if he wins another title fight in LFA, for sure the UFC is going to give him another chance, or the Dana White Contender Series.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I kind of listen. A fighter always thinks that he's going to win the fight, no matter how, you know? Yep. So I understand it from Argueta's point of view. But yeah, it's like you fighting Damon Jackson. He's also big for featherweight as well, you know. Yeah. You saw it even. I'd always do these fight announcers with the scaling with the two guys next to each other. Like Damon Jackson was like this big, and Argueta was like this. You know, there was a big difference. And I don't say
4 inches taller. I just checked.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I think it's a bad matchup as well. You know, I think Argueta, great fighter, but not a favorable debut here. So
no.
I'm taking Jackson here. I'm also thinking he submits him first or second round. But yeah, I mean, Jackson also really coming a great fighter in the UFC, in my opinion, man. In the second round, you know, only lost to Topuria. Yeah, who doesn't? But he won all other fights and convincingly. He looks really good. I really like Jackson here as well.
I really like this guy. I think he's just a really good fighter, man. He's really grown on me because I got to be honest, Marcel, his first run in the UFC, I thought he sucked. You know, remember that fight with Levon Makashvili? It was such a horrible fight. Horrible fight.
He was like one draw, one no contest, and one loss. You know, in his first run.
It wasn't impressive. It wasn't. And since he's come back, I think he's looked really good. 3-1.
I agree.
And again, lost to Topuria. There's no shame in that. The losses he's had in his career are the good fighters too. I mean, I like Daniel Argueta. I think he's really good. I just don't like the fight for him. You know, that's what it comes down to. I just hate this matchup for him. He's never, well, actually, he was submitted as an amateur, but he's never been submitted as a pro. But I think this is a bad matchup, and I think he could get subbed here. He's never fought someone like Damon Jackson with just the grappling pedigree of him. So, getting the vibe Jackson said is probably a bad spot for Argueta. I think he is too, man. He seems like he's in his prime a little bit, Marcel. You know, not going to win the manager of the year. I don't think so either. I mean, I don't know who his manager is, but I just don't think this is the kind of fight you should give your guy. Again, if he was like Marcel, if he was like a guy who's like
35,
like Chris Coutinho, who was like 8-4, okay, then you have to take whatever fight you get. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or 35, 36.
Yeah, we're older guy, but he's not. He's young. He's improving. I just don't like the decision. Managers make weird decisions. This is not a good one. Again, he's probably like, oh, of course I can beat this guy. Give me the fight, right? But if you're his manager, I think you got to be smarter than that. Be like, you know what, man? You're fighting a bigger guy, like a huge featherweight, like you said, Marcel. Guy who's on a roll right now. It's just not a good matchup. Hey, man, I might eat my words on Monday when we come back or Sunday or whatever. We'll talk about that later. But
you remind me about the Erin Blanchfield against Norma Dumont,
remember that? I told you like there was a horrible fight for her because of the size, remember? It was a featherweight, basically. Actually, a lightweight because she can't even make featherweight now against a flyweight. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. You guys see this fight going to decision? Maybe he's saying the Parsons out of the fight, maybe, but I still think Jackson's like Parsons is a good grappler too, but I think Jackson's like one of the better grapplers at 45. So, anyways, that's my thoughts on this one. Let's go to the next fight, Marcel. We got just a couple of prelims left here. Joe Solecki against Alex de Silva. I'm actually curious to hear your thoughts on this fight. It's an interesting one. Go ahead, Marcel. The odds for this one, I'll give those quickly. Joe Solecki is favored right now, minus 170. Alex de Silva plus 150. Your thoughts?
I think it's kind of a weird ass fight again. You know, I feel like, I feel like Joe Solecki has actually looked pretty good in the UFC. He only has one loss. That was his most recent fight against Jared Gordon, that split decision. But overall, he has looked pretty decent, you know. And Alex de Silva, I don't know, dude. I mean, he has that loss against Brad Riddell most recently, but I mean, everybody pretty much expected him not to win that fight. He got one win over Rodrigo Vargas. You know, that's for people wondering who's Rodrigo Vargas. That's the dude who got knocked out in Paddy Pimblett's debut in the second fight in the UFC.
Did he tap him out? I thought he tapped him out.
He tapped him out. You're right. Yeah. He tapped him out. So, for me, Solecki wins this fight, dude. I don't see how Leko is his nickname. Alex de Silva wins the fight, to be really honest. I think Solecki really finishes him, maybe not. I'm going with a decision win.
All right. Well, I'm on the other side of you in this one, Marcel. I'm going to take a shot. I'm going to take a shot at de Silva. Yeah, I'm going to take a shot at him. Now, it's only because I was so disappointed by Solecki in the last fight. I mean, I thought he would win that fight against Jared Gordon. He got wrestled in that fight a little bit. The Jim Miller fight, guys, look at that fight too. The first round got completely wrestled. He did turn in around the second and third round, but I don't know, man. I think he's very one-dimensional. I don't think he has much besides the wrestling and the submissions. Like, whereas de Silva, he's actually not a bad grappler himself. He won that, I think it was the first round against Fakhretdinov, took him down, grinded him out. Grinded out Vargas, was doing well against Yakovlev until he got choked out. I mean, that's obviously the concern. You're getting submitted. I'm not saying this guy's a great fighter by any means, and he could get out wrestled here, but I think he's a decent wrestler. I think like he can cancel out the wrestling, and I think he's the better striker too. So I'm taking this is shot in the dark here. It's not like I'm super convinced, but I'm going to take a shot on de Silva here, Marcel. I think he can win the decision here. I know you're probably surprised I'm saying that. I'm surprised too. But honestly, I'm not impressed with Joe lately. I just haven't been impressed. I don't think he's really improving that much. And yeah, listen, this one hasn't fought in 2 years, so this is a real shot in the dark. It's a wild card fight, but I think it's dog or pass, guys. I wouldn't bet on Joe Solecki in this fight. That's my personal opinion. I just think de Silva's getting better. He's 26 years old. He's fought pretty good competition. I mean, he went 29-20 with Brad Riddell. Like, that's not bad, Marcel, at all. You know, so we'll see. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just really down on Solecki because of that last fight. I'm just surprised he lost, but we'll see, Marcel. It's not like I'm not super convinced, guys. It's not as strong of a dog pick as Johnny Munoz earlier, but it is a dog pick for me. So I don't know if anyone has thoughts on this fight. I'll gladly hear some other opinions. I'm assuming most people will like Solecki.
People are so shocked that they don't even give us new comments here. You know.
I know. I'm trying to see what Tapology says. Yeah, I mean, Solecki's a huge favorite here, but I mean the line is close though. You know, the line is very close. It's not like it's completely off. That always makes me wonder, like, the public is so high on Solecki in polls, but the line is still really close. So I'm just wondering why that is. Anyways, it's a close fight, but I'm leaning toward the plus money. I would take de Silva to edge out a close decision, Marcel. All right, let's go to the next fight here. The last prelim, Marcel, Felice Herrig versus Karolina Kowalkiewicz. The rematch, Marcel, the rematch that I don't think anyone really asked for. I didn't ask for it. I mean, I don't know why they're still in the UFC, honestly. I'm not trying to be mean, but 0-5, it's very bizarre. And then 0-3. Karolina's last win was against Herrig. Anyway, so it was. And I forgot about that fight. I watched it back. She won the fight clearly, though. It was
a split, horrible split decision, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, the odds for the rematch. Herrig's the plus 100. What do you think?
Yeah, I really don't care, to be really honest. If we look at Felice Herrig, um, she's like she had a great streak at a certain moment where she defeated Alexa Grasso as well within that streak, and then lost 2 straight. Pretty much didn't fought for some time, and then came back to Verna Jandiroba, got tapped within the first round, and with a submission. And then hasn't fought since then. She's pretty busy with her OnlyFans. If you look at
Herrig?
yeah.
Yeah.
If you look at Karolina Kowalkiewicz, she just, I don't know. I feel like maybe I'm wrong and I shouldn't say this, but I feel like she's busy with a lot of other things outside of the MMA than with MMA. Actually, she got married as well. She has a family now. I don't know. She's not a mother yet, but
okay.
no, but she has a husband now, and she was focused on that. That said, she went to American Top Team for this fight, and training with Joanna. I've seen many posts of her. I feel like, listen, man, if it goes talent against talent, I still think Karolina has a bigger talent than Felice Herrig, to be really honest.
Yeah.
And this can be a fight where she can turn it around. I have totally zero trust in Felice Herrig, to be really honest. I'm going with Karolina here via decision.
Yeah, this is a weird fight. It's a hard fight to pick, too, I think. You mentioned Karolina's American Top Team. That's worth mentioning. Herrig's training with Valley Flow. She's training with Juliana Pena. So, I mean, she's training with good training partner, too. They're both veterans of the sport. They both been around a long time. Like, listen, it's easy to laugh at them right now because their records suck and they seem more concerned with their, like, image more so than their actual fighting abilities. But these girls are both tough, man. They've been around for a long time. So I do have respect for them. This is a hard fight to pick, Marcel, because the first fight, Karolina won it, but she's looked so bad since then, like so bad. And that fight with Jessica Penne, Marcel, how can I pick her after that fight? I just can't do it. I can't do it, bro. I think you'll see Harry come in here and try to wrestle Karolina. That's what I think happens. And also on the feet, honestly, Karolina doesn't move her head at all, guys. She just keeps her head stationary. And, Harry, again, not a great striker, but I think she can kind of outbox her a little bit, maybe. Again, I saw what happened in the first fight. I watched it again the other day. It wasn't a great fight, but I watched it. I just don't think they're the same fighters anymore. It was 4 years ago, and they've both gotten worse since then. But I just think Herrig, now I think she'll go for a different game plan, try to wrestle a little bit more, Marcel. So Herrig by decision, but it's not confident at all. And I just don't like this fight at all. It's just not a good fight. Odds of this being a split. I think that's not a bad play, Steve. What do you think, Marcel? Split decision again. What do you think?
Oh, it's definitely possible with this fight. Oh, yeah.
Let me see what the odds on that are. Just the fight going to a split decision. Is there odds on that? Either fighter wins by split. Let's take a look on that. Plus 380. I mean, of all the fights in the card, this one seems like one of the harder fights to call, and it seems the first fight was a split too. So I don't think that's a terrible bet, man. Plus 380 on that's not bad at all.
Definitely
on a split.
Possible, yeah.
I think it's possible too. Again, that's pretty specific. I got to be honest with you. I wouldn't I wouldn't put your Funko Pop collection on that one, Marcel. But
oh no, definitely not.
Maybe your lunch money. You could put your lunch money on it. Maybe. Sorry, I was gonna get this comment from Antoine. He was asking about who your guy's favorite prospect is. I mean, is Hamza still considered a prospect? It would have to be him if he's still considered one. Although he's probably a contender now, right? I guess. I don't know. It's a good question though, Antoine. I mean, there's so many good fighters out there now, man. Any thoughts, Marcel, quickly?
If he's still a prospect, Chimaev.
Yeah. I don't know if he is considered one anymore. Maybe
actually he should be, but can we really call him a prospect after he beat Gilbert Burns?
Probably nice contender now. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, let's get some other ones. Hey Josh, what's up? I feel like Karolina doesn't want to fight. I mean, she seems like she's been training hard for this fight. They both do. They both look in really good shape. I'll say that. Harry looks like really like strong right now. That's why I think she's going to go for a wrestling-based game plan. Again, Marcel, she's training with Juliana, Marcel. So that's why I think she'll go because the first fight was more on the feet. That's what I think will happen, but we'll see. What else? How could you bet on either of these chicks? You can't. Don't bet on this fight, guys. Don't bet on this fight. Maybe bet on the fight going the distance. What's that actually? Actually, maybe there could be a finish. They're both so like, it's minus 350 going the distance. It's not even really good odds at all. Oh yeah, Shavkat. He's another guy who's a good prospect. There's a lot, Antoine. My mind's not there at the moment, but I'll think about it for you. What's up, Fordwin? Good afternoon, gentlemen. Thanks for the awesome combo. Dude, appreciate it, man. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
He said he's going to drop a scoop on the lightweight division. Hey, throw it in here, man. We'd love to hear it. Karolina has a style that ages terribly. She just doesn't move her head enough. Like, Marcel doesn't move her head. I still can't. After that fight with Jessica, she's never been the same, Marcel. Like, that was such a bad knockout. it's hard to recover from that. You know what I mean, Marcel? Like some fighters are just not able to like turn their careers around after such a brutal knockout loss. So, any last thoughts on this fight before we move on?
We're talking way too long about this fight, in my opinion.
Agreed. The worst fight in the card. We talked about it more than any of the other ones. It's funny. All right, let's go to the main card now, guys. This is interesting. So we got Alonzo Menifield taking on Askar Movsar, and we had some news today, Marcel. If you wanted to talk about the news that Tapology found out about his record, any thoughts quickly before I break down the fight? Oh, sorry, let me give the odds first. Menifield minus 165, Movsar plus 145. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Tapology found out that some fights were incorrect or whatever, and he actually had a second record with a different name. So it's not anymore. What was it? His record was like 24-5,
I think.
And
added
5,
like 6 losses, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, now it's like 21-11 or something. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, break down the fight.
Yeah. What can you say about Askar Movsar? You know, he fought against everybody. In my opinion, he only won against guys who are really not that great, you know, and he lost to pretty much everybody who was actually pretty decent, you know. If you look at, he was supposed to fight for PFL, right? Did never fought for PFL in the tournament and signed with the UFC. Was supposed to fight 2 times already, hasn't fought. This is his debut. Alonzo Menifield had a lot of cardio issues. Remember when he first went to 3 rounds, and then against Herrig, he looked a lot better.
Yep.
Now last time against William Knight, he lost, but I think it was competitive.
Close fight, yeah.
Yeah, very close fight. So, yeah, I don't have a really good read on Askar Movsar, to be really honest, dude. I'm taking Alonzo Menifield with a knockout in the first round.
I think Movsar's not good at all, guys. I got to be honest with you, Marcel. Don't think he's good. You picked Menifield, right, Marcel?
Yeah.
Said that? Yeah. I think Movsar's not good at all, Marcel. I think he has a padded record, which it's proven now he has a padded record. Again, it's hard to like say, hey, this guy's on steroids, but I mean, Marcel, he used to be a lot smaller than he is now. You know, he used to be a welterweight. Now he's like a big light heavyweight. I don't know. It doesn't seem right to me. And I don't know, man. I don't think the guy's very good. He has some power, but I don't think his chin's good. I think he's a guy that can easily break and fight. He's been submitted a lot in his fights. He's been knocked out in his fights. Listen, Menifield's been up and down the UFC, you know, but at the same time, like, he has to have some decent wins, man. Like, the Paul Craig win looks really good now. Honestly, I think, you know, he could have beat William Knight. That was a very close fight. I think he got, like, dropped at the end of the first round, I want to say, with, like, 10 seconds left, and that's kind of why he lost the fight. But listen, his chin's not great either. He could get knocked out here because this guy has power. But overall, I think Menifield's the better fighter, Marcel. And I expect him to win. I just don't think Movsar's that good. And I think, again, he's got a padded record, Marcel. And he's got a padded record, and that's a fake record too, Marcel. So, yeah. You sent me a guy. You sent me a guy.
Yeah, put it on the screen if you want.
Is that him?
Yeah, put it on the screen.
Marcel found something here, guys. I'm not going to pull this up here. Okay, box rec, you said? All right.
Yeah.
Let me pull this up. So this is boxing record. 1 second here. Where's this? Here it is. Artur Shadkov. This is him?
That's him, yeah. And also Topology had him. If you put Artur Shadkov on Google and you scroll, that's see him. His picture as well. Yeah.
What the fuck? Okay, that's really sketchy. I mean, the guy had a fake name, fake record. How could you pick this guy here? You know, it's just unless you think Menifield stinks. The only thing I'll say about Menifield is, I watched the interview with James. Why is he training with Pat Barry? And he's like, he said Pat's going to be his corner, and James was like, "How's that going to work when you got Safe and Pat?" He's like, "Oh, they're going to work together. We just want to win as a team." I don't think it's going to work out too well, but I think it won't really matter because I think he'll knock him out. But that's not a good. I don't like that, Marcel. Pat Barry's not someone I want in my corner. I gotta be honest. Would you want that guy? Like, say he's going to be like yelling at him, saying like, "Do this," and Pat's going to be like, "No, you're doing great. Like, you're doing amazing."
Pat Barry is the kind of guy you want to drink a beer with, probably. But
Pat Barry's one of the guys like that sits in the first round of the crowd, and he's like, "Come on, like, let's go." Yeah. But listen, I know Pat had a UFC career and everything.
Yeah, no disrespect to that.
No, not at all. I mean, the guy was a decent fighter. He had some fun fights, but I don't think he's a good cornerman, Marcel. That's my honest opinion. You know, not everyone that's a good fighter or even a bad fighter is a good cornerman. It takes a specific person. Safe is a good cornerman, Marcel. One of the best. Yeah. One of the best. No doubt about it, right? I just think it's going to be funny to see if the fight does go past the first, what happens in the corner with these two. Let's get some more comments here, guys. Sorry, you guys had some questions here about This fight. Oh, this guy's saying about his he has a fight or something maybe, but he has to drop his website. No worries, man. We understand. Movsar, the crazy record. Hey, Dwayne, what's up? 29 of 32 fights ending in the first. Record of guys he's beaten 84 and 62 according to Topology. I mean, those are the fights that we know about. I mean, but again, he might have more losses, Marcel. It's possible under another name or something. Like, I don't trust this guy at all. Like, how do you trust this guy, Marcel? Can you?
Not.
No.
That's why I picked Menifield.
Movsar sounds like a fake name. No, I mean, I think this is his real one, I think, but I don't know. Birch is asking, who do you think could have taken Chael's 0? Oh, that's funny. It's a good question. How'd the UFC find Movsar? Bizarre choice to sign. I mean, who's his manager? Is it Danny? Is that his manager?
No. I don't know who his manager is.
Okay. Well, I mean, he trains at AK Thailand, right? So generally, like, a manager will just have these guys, and they'll tell the like, if the UFC needs a fight, they'll be like, hey, I have this guy. I guess that's how he found him. He did fight in Titan FC. He got knocked out. I couldn't find that fight, by the way, Marcel. He lost to some guy named Christian Torres. I looked for that fight and I didn't find it anywhere. So
maybe you should have looked to Shatkov instead of Movsar.
I looked for another name, exactly. Yeah. And then we have Dixon. Hey, Dixon, what's up? He's lost to Luke Juma by submission. That's just not good at all. So, hey, Grateful Dude, tough to trust the record. I mean, it's a fake record. It's a fake name. Everything's fake about this dude. I just I'm going to go out there and dominate and knock Menifield and was going to shut us all up, but I don't think so, man. Menifield knocked this guy out this year.
Tiki is his manager.
Tiki.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, listen, Tiki's another guy who's, guy we have a lot of respect for. Marcel, guy who's in the UFC. I think he went like 0-5 in the UFC, I want to say. He was one of the guys, Marcel, or something.
Remember what he said where Robbie Lawler knocked him out. It's like it's been stopped due to a cut.
Yeah, I remember that. Well, who's got Pat Barry? Menifield's got him in the corner. Kyle Barallo is a good prospect. Great prospect. I really like him. Hey, Raw Torque. The fight not going the distance. I don't think so at all. What are the odds on that, actually? Minus 700. There's no chance. I mean, the other guy will gas out Marcel. Movsar is first round or bust. What do you think? He either gets the knockout or he loses, right? Yeah. Would be funny if Pat Barry lifts Menifield and told me he's the best after he wins. You're asking how you're doing the Dutch Snorlax. He's got the hat there. There you go. All right, let's get to the next fight here, guys. The next fight is, well, this one's new on the main card. Like I said, there's a shift. So we got Ode Osborne now against Zaruk Adeshev. I personally would put Japolin and Zhumagulov, but whatever. I mean, Osborne is a decent fight coming off a win.
I feel like the UFC puts everything we want on the main card. They don't put it on the main card, you know?
Yeah. Minus 185, Osborne, plus 160, Adeshev. What do you think?
Osborne. I like Osborne. I think he's still a good prospect. Remember I know he lost to Cap with that knockout, the flying knee.
Yeah.
But overall, he has looked decent in the UFC. At flyweight, I think he only fought twice at flyweight, right? So far, these other fights were at bantamweight and featherweight. Actually, he fought at featherweight against a flyweight, against that Jerome Rivera dude.
Yeah.
Adeshev was a weird signing back then by the UFC, 3-1. Lost his first two fights against Tyson Nam, the knockout, and against Sumu Derji. Last time looked pretty much better actually than his first two UFC fights, and he won against Ryan Benoit. Still think Ode Osborne should win this fight any day, man. So I'm taking Ode Osborne. No disrespect to Adeshev.
I don't know how you pick Adeshev. I don't think you can do it, right? Like, I don't think he's looked. I mean, listen, he looked okay against Ryan Benoit. I'll give him that. But Marcel, 4-3 record. Just starched by Nam. He looked, you know what? He didn't look terrible against Sumu Derji either. I'll give him that too. He looked okay in that fight, but I just haven't been impressed with the guy. I mean, I just haven't been impressed at all. And whereas Osborne, like, he's not bad, man. Like he had, like you said, some hard matchups, like Kelleher and Cape are hard fights. The Vergara win looks pretty good, I think. That guy's not bad at all. Jerome Rivera, I mean, listen, it was a quick fight, but that guy's not good, Marcel. Like, you can't really take anything away from when someone wins that fight against Jerome Rivera,
No disrespect, but he didn't even win his Contender Series fight, in my opinion.
No, I don't think so either. He should have been 0-5. Osborne has 2 inches of height, 8 inches of reach. 8 inches. That's humongous in this fight. You said decision, or you think he knocks him out?
I think he finishes him, probably.
I think so too, now that I think about it, especially on the main card, Marcel. I think it's going to give a little bit more extra motivation. It is the last fight in his contract, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. Maybe I'm wrong about that, actually. No, I think I'm wrong. Sorry. He re-signed with them after the last fight. But yeah, I still think it gives him extra motivation, Marcel. It's Adeshev's last fight in his contract. That's what I was going to say. I mean, he should be motivated too, to be fair. But I just don't think he's that good, Marcel, honestly. Like, I feel like you feel the same way about this fight that I do. So, Adeshev has shown solid improvements each of his UFC fights. He's not experienced enough to hand consistently at the UFC level, especially in the division this deep. I agree. You think it's closer to a pick, Tristan? I think like minus 150 would probably be fair. I mean, like I'm not saying go window and throw money on Osborne, but I think minus 1 is fair. Like in between like minus 150 and minus 200, that's kind of what I would put him at. Aldo was a small favorite to beat him, I believe he was, in that fight. I remember picking McGregor. I actually said on the old party shot, Marcel, I said McGregor's going to walk across cage and knock him out. It was one of the best predictions I ever made in my life, and he did it in like 10 seconds, or was it 13 seconds? That's what it was, right?
I don't want to remember.
Here's a question for you: should he be in jail for eating the steaks well done? Marcel, any thoughts on that?
You should be put in the hole, man, not just
How
in
do you
jail.
how do you eat your steak?
Definitely not well done. Like medium rare, probably.
See, that's the thing. Everyone eats the medium rare, but I eat the medium or like medium well. I don't eat it well done either, but like I don't like a ton of pink. I like a little pink.
I like the blood. So.
Yeah, I know a lot of people do. I totally get it. And like the juices and everything, that's what you're getting with the steak. But I know what you're saying. Well done though. I mean, I don't know about that. The last time I went to a steakhouse, I said, "Give me well done." They looked at me funny, so don't do it, Richard. Don't do it.
Well done. You can get my shoe if you want.
Yeah.
You want something well done.
Ashraf's not a bad kickboxer. Maybe he's minus 30. He's not bad, but I just think he's finishable. Like the Tyson Nam fight was not good. All right, let's get to the next fight, Marcel. I mean, let's be quick with this one. Karine Silva against Poliana Botelho. This fight should not be in the main card. This is a complete joke. This fight's on the main card. It doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't make any sense. It's a pick of Marcel, basically. Silva minus 150, Botelho minus 105. So flip the coin in the air, Marcel. Who wins?
So Karine Silva come from the Contender Series, right? She beat the Chinese girl. She had some trouble with her, but she submitted her in the second round. Botelho, she's pretty one-dimensional in my opinion, dude. I think she has a really worse ground game, to be really honest. I think if Silva gets her to the ground, she might finish her. But can she get her to the ground? Because Botelho can knock her out on the feet, I think. I think the UFC is banking on that. That is either be a submission or a knockout, another decision. Which can go either way. I don't feel very confident picking Botelho anymore, so I'm taking Silva with a submission in the second round.
God, I hate this fight.
Me too.
You took Silva, you said?
Yeah.
It's a hard one to pick, honestly. It's difficult. You know what's interesting is they both fought in that what's the promotion called? It's
Jungle Fight.
XFC. No,
XFC. Yeah, XFC. You're right.
A lot of fighters from that promotion they fought like years ago. Marina Moroz is also there. Silvana Gomez Juarez or whatever, she was in it. Botelho, Silva. A lot of fighters now are finally getting a chance at the UFC, which is interesting. So Silva's definitely got good submissions, man. She's a good ground game, like you said. The submissions are nasty, but like that last fight, Marcel, she was getting completely wrestled by Kiwi Yan. I mean, that's not a good look at all. Botelho's not a bad wrestler herself. She has some wrestling. She's a big girl. She's the better striker too. This is a hard fight to call. I mean, it wouldn't surprise at all if Botelho got submitted. It really wouldn't. But I think she could also win a decision here, Marcel. So I'm kind of like complete in the middle here. I'm thinking Botelho.
You're picking a draw.
No, I can't pick a draw. I would not for this fight. I mean, unless there's like a point deduction or 10-8, I don't think. Botelho by decision, but I'm not confident. And there's no way in hell you could get me to put a dime on this fight. There's no way in hell. You couldn't get me to do it. So I think we've been too kind to this fight because it's not a good matchup, Marcel. Why is this on the main card? It just bothers me when like there's so many good fights on this card and like this one gets the main card treatment. Again, it's the worst women's fight probably in the card, Marcel. And Erin Blanchfield will see on the main card.
I don't know if it's
either
worse.
The second or third, but yeah. All right, let's go to the next fight here. Mike Trizano, the lone wolf against Lucas Almeida, getting his UFC debut here. Good fight, Marcel. Minus 230 for Mike Trizano, plus 190 for Lucas Almeida. What's your thoughts, man?
Yeah, man, I think Trizano didn't fight bad against Dawood, but he had trouble to letting his hands go, and he wasn't, how do you say that? He was not active enough in that fight. I think it was a pretty close fight. I think Dawood won the fight for sure, but I think he didn't do bad at all, He only really lost to Grant Dawson. If you look at the Ludovic Klein fight, to be honest, could have been Ludovic Klein fight as well. So technically, he could be on a 3-fight losing streak. Technically, could be. He is not, but could be. Right. If you look at Lucas Almeida, he had that great fight against Daniel Zellhuber in the Contender Series, right? Lost that fight, got back to Jungle Fight, and won his. He defended his title and got signed by the UFC. It's difficult, man. I think Almeida has a lot of potential, man. But does he have the potential here to beat Trezano? I think he can, but on the other hand, I think Trezano knows he needs to win this fight, dude. So I expect him to be more active in this fight and go more forward and being more smarter with what he does. I'm taking Trezano with a decision, but I'm not sure. I think it can go either way.
Yeah, it's a competitive fight, Marcel. I'm going to go with the dog here, Marcel. I'm going to take a shot on Almeida. I really liked what I saw from him in the Contender Series, man. I know he lost the fight. He kind of like punched himself out a little bit in the first round, Marcel. Like he got a little tired. But again, man, Daniel Zellhuber is one of the better prospects, man. And he went toe-to-toe with that guy. And again, since then, he picked up a win. Dana White said, hey, you will get a win on the regional scene. We'll bring you back. Because honestly, after they signed Candelario off a loss, I thought for sure they were going to sign this guy off a loss. You know, he just deserved it. But I'm glad he's finally here. You know, Mike Chanel's not a bad fighter, but again, he's just kind of like basic. Like I don't think he does anything special, really, Marcel. He could win the fight because he probably has the better cardio. So, you know, it just gets interesting. But I think Almeida will win the first round. It comes down to the second round, I think, because Trezano probably wins the third. I think Almeida could pace himself a little better here, Marcel, and win a decision. I think the odds are solid on this guy. Plus 190? I'll take plus 190 on Lucas Almeida, guys. It's seeing plus 200 out there, too. Yeah, he's a dog I like. I think he can win this fight. I think he can win the decision here, Marcel. The odds on this one. Wow, decision are plus 440 on this guy. Plus 500 on other books. Holy crap.
That's a good...
That's crazy
good
odds.
Bet. Yeah,
that's crazy odds. I mean, listen, I think the fight goes the distance either way, honestly. They're both very tough dudes. I'm going to go with the dog here, Marcel. Lucas Almeida to win the decision. I think he outboxes him, so... Odd smoker Steve, like Almeida with the late finish. I mean, maybe too. I mean, possibly. But Trezano's pretty tough, man. He's very tough. I don't know, Marcel. I'm just not really high on Trezano, man. I got to be honest with you. Like, I don't think he beat Klein. Arguably didn't even beat Payne. He could be 0-4 right now in the UFC, you know?
Against who, you say?
Well, Klein, I don't think he beat him in that fight.
No, I think that was controversial. But the Pena, he definitely beat Pena, in my opinion.
Joe Giannetti, you thought he won that one? Yeah.
Oh, clearly, both, actually. So
Yeah. But the Klein fight, no way, Marcel. That was a horrible decision by the judges. I don't know why they gave it to him. Anyways, take a shot on Lucas Almeida here. All right, let's go to the last two fights here, guys. We got the co-main event, Dan Ige against Movsar Evloev. Great fight, Marcel. Minus 390 on Movsar, plus 320 on Dan Ige. What do you think, Marcel? You see an upset here, or the favorite wins again?
Listen, Movsar is also always starting problems in the first round. You know, I think he needs to come into the zone or something. But I feel like the dude is really solid, you know, and I think this is a good fight for him. Dan Ige is good, but also Dan Ige has shown that he has some trouble sometimes if he gets a higher ranked opponent. And Movsar is not higher ranked at this moment, but still undefeated. He's a good prospect. He's still young. I really like Movsar, man. So it's a 3-round fight. I think Movsar wins again via decision, but I think he wins.
No, I think he wins the decision too. And you know, Dan Ige's not a bad fighter. He's like decent. He's usually a guy that you could take a look at as an underdog, but the takedown defense is not great. It's only 55%. You know, Korean Zombie took him down, Marcel, pretty easily in that fight. Controlled him on the ground. Evloev is a great wrestler, obviously. I mean, 9 takedowns the last fight. Listen, the guy, he didn't look amazing. I'll say that against Duadu, not as good as I thought. Even against Lentz, right? Like, he hasn't looked as good as I think he is, but I think he's good. I really do. And then I think he just wrestles him, Marcel. I think he wins the decision here. That's what I think. You think the same, eh? Decision?
Yeah.
Evloev, oh man, you have to pay minus 170 for that garbage odds. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I think it's Evloev or pass, though. I don't like Dan Ige in this fight. I don't think it's a good fight for him. Is there any way Dan Ige can win? I think you'd have to knock him out, maybe, right? Like, how else would he? Yeah. Or maybe you could outstrike him on the feet, maybe, but
I don't think it stays on the feet.
I don't think so either. I think it takes him down and just, 50K is a dog. I don't see it. What's the path here, right? Like, I'm not saying you guys are wrong. I'm just trying to wonder like what his path to win here would be, you know? All right, let's get to the main event, Marcel.
Yeah.
Last fight in the card. Alexander Volkov taking on Jairzinho Rozenstruik, Marcel. The main event of UFC Vegas 56. Minus 160 for Volkov, plus 140 for Rozenstruik, Marcel. Finishes off.
You saw the clip of Rozenstruik's coach dancing?
I didn't. I saw the clip of him wrestling, though. I saw the takedowns.
Okay, I sent you the clip later. So It's again difficult, you know. I think
Yeah.
I wanted to say Chandler. What the heck? I want to say Chandler. Volkov is very all round guy. You know, I think he can strike, he can grapple, he's pretty good. And Rozenstruik still has that problem with the ground game, you know. And I think it's he got the knockout power. Um, can either be Volkov who's smart and using his ground game, or Rozenstruik catching him and knocking him out.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm going with the last one. I think Rozenstruik knocks him out, to be honest. So
Yeah.
yeah, if he doesn't, Volkov wins. But I think Rozenstruik knocks him out. I'm going with the first round.
It's a competitive fight for sure. Rozenstruik has a path with the knockout punch, but the thing is, the problem with Rozenstruik, he pulls the frozen strike too much more so. Like that's the problem. He just doesn't throw his hands. I'm looking at the stats again. Stats are only one thing, but they both have a pretty large sample size at this point. Volkov 4.83 strikes landed per minute, 2.8 for Rozenstruik. Like that's a big difference, you know. So unless he lands a knockout punch, I think he's going to struggle with the volume. I don't even think the fight goes to the ground. I just think Volkov can out kickbox him, Marcel. Maybe he gets some takedowns in here and there, but I think Volkov just wins the decision. I don't really like this fight either. I don't think it's a great main event, to be honest with you. But I think Volkov can just kind of outpoint him, Marcel, win a kind of boring decision. Honestly, that's what I think about this fight. It's not like not my favorite fight in the card, though. It's not like my strongest lean, but I'm favoring Volkov, so that's my thoughts. And the cool thing about this card, Marcel, we have some different opinions on the fights, which is good because honestly I don't want to come here having the same picks as you. That's no one wants that. You know what I mean? We need to have some different opinions. We did have a few, I think, fights that we agreed on, especially in the beginning. But as we got through the card, Marcel, there was a few fights we were like up and down on. So it should be interesting to see what the MMAOB standings for the pick'em looks like after this card, Marcel.
Oh, dude, I stopped watching the how do you say the standings after I was like 20 picks behind to the number one.
Yeah,
I was
Mike
like,
is killing it right now. Mike is
yeah,
doing really well. Andrew's talking about Ige managed to murder Gavin Tucker. He did. That's what I'm saying. I think that would be his path to victory, an early knockout. Do you guys think Chandler beats Poirier? Probably the current version of him probably could. But you know he could get knocked out too. It's a good fight though. I would like to see that fight. Get a couple of comments, guys, before we get out of here. Fight night cards, we have to step it up. Imagine how many tickets home versus Vieira sold, like 20. I mean, I think they sold more than that, but yeah, I agree. I mean, this is not the best card either. At the same time, though, I'm looking forward to it. I just think it could have used another like big fight on the card, you know, Marcel. I think this would have been a better co-main event than the main event, personally. You know,
yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of heavyweight main events because they often, you know, don't go to 5. We don't need.
We don't need the
five.
5. Yeah,
but this fight actually might go 5. I think it's possible. Yair's going to chop down Volkov the heavy leg kicks, eventually land a bomb. Possibly. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Your guys' favorite props on the card. Okay, let's go through that quickly, Marcel, before we get out of here. I like, I mentioned it earlier, Johnny Munoz by submission,
yeah.
Marcel. You like that one too? Submission? Yeah.
Submission. I said decision, but could be submission. I don't.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? I think a submission for him. That's something I liked. That one stood out for me. Menifield by knockout, I think, stands out. That Almeida by decision one was like plus 500 or something crazy. That's insane. Those are kind of some ones that stand out to me. I have to look later in the week or something like that. Anything else that stood out, like any like specific outcome that really stands out to you?
No,
Rinat by knockout too. That's
yeah.
First round knockout. Yeah.
I had sub. You had knockout.
Yeah, I think he finishes them too. So those are some thoughts, man. But yeah, I mean that's just some thoughts on this one. Anyways, I think we'll get out of here, Marcel. Unless there's any other questions, we'll take a question for another minute or so. But I'll let you plug your stuff, Marcel, while we wait for any other questions, and we'll get out of here. Go ahead and plug your stuff.
Big Marcel 24, Twitter, Instagram, Eurosport.nl, mixed martial arts section.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm on Twitter at MMATterMartin, podcast MMAOddsBreaker.com, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, all those places you got your podcasts. Also boogies.com, my best bets out for tomorrow. I think you guys know where I'm leading on some of these fights, and then MyMMAnews.com for some news. Just a few other things I want to plug, and then we'll take your comments, then we'll get out of here. I did a podcast thing with Elliot Marshall, the former UFC fighter. It was a really cool podcast. Whenever he sends you the link, I'll put it up. We talked a little bit about MMA, but we talked about my career. We talked about just a lot of stuff. His career, it was really cool. It was a really cool podcast. I had a fighter interview me, so that was awesome. Tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern, I'll be doing the Party Show podcast with James Lynch. I'm really looking forward to that. Next 2 weeks, guys, I'm on vacation, but I still want to do the podcast. So Sunday, we're going to do the podcast, me and Marcel. 10 a.m., we're going to recap UFC Vegas 56, and then 11 a.m., we're going to preview UFC 275. So 2 hours, Marcel, this Sunday. We'll do that, Marcel, if that sounds good for you. Looking forward to that. And then the next week for the UFC Austin card, I'm going to have to figure it out. I might do it on my own. I might be able to get Marcel to do it. I'll be somewhere in the east coast of Canada. I'll have my laptop with me. I'm trying to stay away from the queue as much as I can, but I will pull it out if I have to do a quick little podcast on the Austin card, because the card's really good. It's too bad I'm not here for that card, Marcel, to do like a full, on podcast like this. But I have been breaking down the fights ahead of time. Just a couple comments here before we get out of here, guys. Beerch is talking about Fizzy at next lightweight champ, possibly, and he's very good. Odd Smoke, we appreciate you guys. No, man, we appreciate you guys tuning in. I mean, listen, if it was just me and Marcel talking to ourselves, it wouldn't be that fun. We like when you guys are here too. It's true, Marcel. I mean, I like you a lot, but you know what I mean? I didn't mention this, Glenn, but John McCarthy's comments on Diaz Usman, he's trying to get people to listen to his podcast with Josh Thompson. Like, because honestly, I don't really listen to Weigh In that much like I used to, but I don't really listen to it anymore. But that made me click on it, right? To hear what he had to say. You know what I mean, Marcel? That's, I think, why he says that stuff. Any thoughts on that quickly?
I don't know, man. Josh Thompson brought it up first on Twitter, and it doesn't make sense to me. So.
It's just, they're trying to get attention. That's really what it comes down to. Trust me. When people have these extreme takes like that, guys, they're just trying to get a reaction from people. Daniel's talking about the main event. He thinks that Yair could get a late finish like Lewis and Volkov. Possibly. That's the thing I'm worried about. No problem, Beercher. Glad to have you here. Hey, Andrew. We'll take a look at this guy in Shudo. Hey, man, if he's anything like the last guy,
Tyra.
Yeah, Tyra is so good. I'll just say he's willing to move up after Marab. Yeah, I mean, I could see that happening. Tristan, I've been in Vancouver twice, man. I loved it, but I got to go to the East Coast this time. I'll come out there again. Anyways, I think we're going to get out of here, guys. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Like I said, Sunday, 10 a.m., we'll do the 2 podcasts more. So we're going to do 2 separate podcasts. We're back-to-back. So just the way it works out. We'll do the recap, and then we'll do the preview for 275. Then I'm gone for like a week or 2, okay? But again, I'm going to try to do something when I'm gone, Marcel, because I really like doing this show, and I'd like to continue. You know what I mean? Have a good one, guys. Peace.